Mr. O.
Hello, Miss H.
How are you today?
I am counting down the days for till
Yeah.
Christmas. That's how I am today.
I keep hearing the kids are wild bananas right now.
See, my school is at the point now where if the kids get quote unquote wild bananas, they do it outside of the building and they just never come to school. So,
Oh, okay. Well, that's one way to solve that problem.
yeah. Speaking of people who are leaving, let's talk about Brian and Ingrid.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So this was wild because we start off with Brian. I'm just going to say this the way before we get into it. Brian really seems to think that he was the one that broke up with Ingrid.
Oh, my gosh.
Because he talks to us about how he's feeling really good. He said he put his best effort forward in this relationship. Yikes. And you know, now that he's proud of himself for not letting somebody take advantage of him. Like she was clearly taking advantage of him and he's been taken advantage of so many times before. Ingrid, who we see walking down the street, like after the conversation they had, can't believe that he more or less just called her a prostitute and may have felt like that the entire time they were together. So she says he is very mistaken over her. And as of now, this relationship, she's done. It's over. So later on, Brian wants to meet up again. This entire couple is, I know I've fought with you. Can we meet up again? The reason this time is I think it's because he realizes he looks like a total asshole and wants to try to fix that and be the nice guy before she leaves. And he kind of seems to think, but he does kind of seem to think this is really over. So in her hotel, she's sad it didn't work out, but isn't sure what she even expected to happen on this trip here. But whatever it was, it wasn't as bad as what happened. So Brian makes his way to the hotel room and tells her that things ended pretty tense last night, but that's not what he wanted. So she kind of throws back in his face the mean things she said. And he says, well, you know, I have no hard feelings to you. We tried and it just didn't work out. She was a little surprised because she thought he was coming to apologize.
Yeah.
And maybe even she'd settle for an explanation. But it was like, oh, that was it? You don't have hard feelings for me? Oh, yeah. Okay. Gee, thanks. So that's one more disappointment. Just another one added to the list. And now she just wants to go get in the car and go home. So Brian said he had high hopes when he came to Brazil. So he's very heartbroken right now because he knows he's not going to see her again. So once they get outside, he asks for 1 hug, 2 hugs, 3. He keeps asking for hugs and tells her through tears that, you know, I don't hate you and I wish you the best. She also is like, yeah.
Okay, bye.
Me too. But also tells us that she feels like it's a waste of 2 years that they've been talking. Once the car gets there, again, another hug, and she gets in and drives off. In the car, she tells us she wishes it could have worked out, but now that it's over, she kind of remembers like, oh, the nice parts, you know, immediately after the breakup when you're like, yeah, was he all that bad? It's like, yes, he was. So now that Ingrid is gone, Brian is packing up his stuff to go home. He was hoping to come home with another fiance, but he came home with another ex, and he's grateful that he's not accepting someone who doesn't like accept him. It isn't, you know, part of his lifestyle. So he keeps talking as if he was the one that broke things off. And he says this was his last shot at love in Brazil, but not really because he comes back to that later. He misses his family and he's glad to be on his way. He believes the one is still out there, but you know, he is not ruling out anybody. Brazilians, French people, Africans. Oh. So can we just keep this guy out of Brazil? No more Brazilian women deserve this man, right?
No, right. I know. I agree with you. Like, no more. But then he'll probably just go to another country that speaks Portuguese and try his luck.
Go to actual Portugal. He's going to be in Lisbon next.
Right. So something. But this guy is delusional. And it's kind of sad, but I feel like him and Niles are kind of similar in this way. They really justify a lot of their actions and use their disabilities as an excuse for a lot of things. When really it's just like, no, that's just shitty behavior. That has nothing to do with whatever you have going on, you know? And
right.
He is just delusional and he's in his mind. I feel like that's how he can still have an inflated sense of self and, you know, believe things that aren't reality because he's just like, oh, that's because this person is discriminating against me for my disabilities and for this and this and this, and making it not about the fact that, no, you're just kind of a shitty person.
You're just being a dick. Yeah. Like, and it is a lot of, it just seems everything he does seems manipulative.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Even when it's not manipulative, when he's talking in the interviews, he's like, I just wanted to get to know Kristen. I thought I would come home with the fiance.
Okay.
Like, stop it.
Well,
Stop
listen
it.
here.
Stop it. You're full of shit. I can tell you're full of
and
shit.
welcome to
Stop
90
being
Day
full of shit.
Fiance
Just say what you actually
UK.
think.
I'm Mr.
Right.
O.
Yeah,
Today,
just
Miss
the
H
whole
and I will be
thing
discussing
with
Season
them
7,
and, how
Episode
he's,
16
like,
of Before the 90
under the
Days.
impression, like, his
In this episode,
reality
Brian
is different
congratulates
from
himself on dumping Ingrid.
everyone else's
Veah doesn't make a
reality.
good
It's
impression on Sonny's
just, I
dad.
don't know,
Right,
it's
yeah.
kind
Mr.
of
Ark
infuriating, too, 'cause you're like,
has promises he
how
wants
are
from
you
Niles.
off in your
Joe
own
and Magda
little
agreed
world?
to not commit
So,
or
of
have
course
sex,
he's not
but to just have
going
some fun.
This is not the
Lauren
end,
wants a new
right?
tattoo
He's
from
going to
Faith,
try do
and
this
Tigerlily
again,
makes a Thanksgiving
even
dinner.
if he says that this is
We'll be back
my
again next week
last
to talk
chance
about
at
episode
Brazilian
17,
love.
Yeah,
and we're
last
also
chance
back
at
on our other
Brazilian
channel
love.
of After Lockup
Yeah, no,
UK,
he's gonna try.
covering the new season
Yeah, he
of
is.
Love
I
During
mean,
Lockup.
You don't.
All right, thanks for
have,
listening. Stay safe and
what
enjoy.
is it, 7 fiancés,
Right.
4 marriages, and like 3 more fiancés without like just immediately being a fool for falling in love with anybody at once.
That's true, or at least, believing that there's other options out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's I think that's part of where this relationship fell apart at first, is because he just is like 100% all in on everything. He's like, oh, this is my next wife. And she's like, this is some guy I was talking to. And he's upset that I'm not spending all of my time in his apartment. Like, that is weird.
Yeah.
I don't need any more of that.
Right. Okay, so speaking of delusional, let's talk about Joe and Magda, because he's still
Not
calling her
Magna.
Magda. Oh my gosh. So Magda is still upset with Joe because he brought up concerns about them moving too fast during their romantic dinner the night before. Joe thinks that he should take time to get to know someone, and Magda interpreted that as he didn't love her. He tells her that he doesn't not want to marry her, but he wants her to think about their future more. She doesn't know why she should wait if she knows. He says it's strange to have these conversations when they haven't even had sex yet. He doesn't want her to feel pressure, and Magda doesn't want to pressure him to do something like proposing. They both are trying to wait for either sex or proposal, and Joe just wants to express his concerns. Joe apologizes and doesn't want to argue. He just wants to enjoy their time together, so they kiss and make up. Magda is feeling disappointed. She worries how long it will take for him to figure out that he wants to be with her forever. Magda doesn't want to fight either, so she just wants to show him around her town. They go for a picnic on the water, and Magda talks about Joe meeting her mom. Magda talks about her dad, and her mom divorced her dad when she was 12. It really affected her relationship with men because, he did something, her dad did something Magda doesn't want to talk about. Magda signed papers recently saying that her father is no longer her father. She doesn't want anything to do with him. She refuses to talk to Joe or production about any more details. Joe points that out as another reason he wants to take his time because, he doesn't really know everything and he doesn't want to go through a divorce. All right, so what do you think that Magda, why is she being kind of private about this dad thing, but then she's going on a reality TV show, so come on.
Yeah,
now.
this is, this is weird. I thought it was extremely unusual. Not even the part where she didn't want to talk about it on the reality TV show, because that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the part where she was just like, oh, I'm just afraid that other men will be like my dad and do the thing he did. And he's like, oh my God, what was that? She's like, I don't want to tell you. And it's like, well, how am I supposed to not do that or know what that is or be, cognizant of how you might feel about things if I don't even know what it is that's upsetting you?
Right. And then I was confused by, she's an adult woman, so why does she have to sign papers saying that he's no longer her father? It's not like her dad's paying any kind of child support for her, or I guess maybe it's a next of kin kind of situation. Could be
for like visitations in hospitals and stuff like that. I don't know. And who knows? The laws in Poland might be completely different. It might be, in terms of like things like debt and like, I don't know. I could see where they're like, well, if you don't do this, we'll come after your father. If your father doesn't do this, we'll come after you. And this is just like severing that connection.
Yeah.
But yes, in the U.S., it does seem unusual that you would say have to go through a thing to be like, this person who I'm an adult and emancipated from by virtue of being an adult is also not my father.
Right. I am disowning this person. So
Right. I am specifically disowning this person.
right. I felt like it seemed a bit manipulative of Joe to kind of bring up this, like, we haven't even had sex. Why are we talking about this commitment thing?
Yeah. I mean, that was, I wasn't surprised by it, but I was surprised it blew over so quick.
Yeah, I was too.
It was very much like, how can I know if I can even commit it to you if I don't know if you give good blowjobs? Like, how would I even know?
God. I know, what an asshole. But I think they're glazing over it really has to do with the fact that this is not a serious man. He's not serious about anything. He doesn't want to have a serious conversation about commitment. He doesn't want to do anything that's adulting or serious. And so really it becomes this, okay, well, let's just have fun. You know, like, we can't be spending all our time arguing. Let's just forget about it. Well, that's future us's problem.
Well, that's also because it's easy to not have a serious conversation about commitment when you don't have a serious commitment to commitment. If you're like,
yeah, that's true.
I would like this to not be committed, but I also don't want you to be mad at me for not being committed. Like, let's find ways to make that happen.
Right. Let's just ignore this.
Yeah, so ignoring it sounds like a plan for that. Looks like we can just go have fun right now.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I'm kind of surprised that she was so quick to be...
That's the part that surprised me.
To let it go too. But I mean, maybe she really doesn't want to have sex with this dude, because I feel like that was the reason why she let it go so easily, because she said, well, I don't, want to feel pressure that he's proposing, just like she doesn't want to feel pressure to have sex. So maybe she just really does not want to have sex with this man.
When it came down to, she was like, why don't you marry me? And he's like, well, why don't you fuck with me? And she was like, okay, how about we not have this conversation anymore and just go have fun? Right. That is true. All right. So who else did we have here? Oh, let's talk Niles and Matilda first, because that was weird.
Surprising.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So Niles is back to see Mr. Ark because it's supposed to be his wedding day and he is totally and completely out of money. So he's having a hard time with his parents not being supportive, which we saw last episode. And now he has no choice but to go and lean on Mr. Ark for yet another huge favor. So as he pulls up, Mr. Ark is immediately just like he comes up to Mr. Ark and he pulls up a seat. And Mr. Ark is like, wait, did I tell you you could get a seat? Why are you getting a seat? I didn't tell you you could get a seat. Put your bag down. You shouldn't stand like that. You have to stand with your hands behind your back. Well, you should ask permission to have a seat. And just is like barking orders at him, because that's the Ghanaian way. When he finally allows Niles to take a seat, he starts going through this whole like, oh, you're going to be a man, you're getting married, and, we have to, we're going to take you to my place and you're going to put the stuff on and, and you're going to have to take care of this woman and make sure Niles knows what's kind of going on and what he's getting into. And that's when Niles asks a question, which is a shock to Mr. Ark. So the question obviously is to borrow money. And Mr. Ark tells us that he thinks Niles at first is like, are you playing a joke on me? Because as all Ghanaians know, all Americans have a lot of money. Yeah. What do you mean you don't have money? Like, you're American. You just have money just like flowing out of your pockets. Like, come on. So it's concerning to him because he's supposed to take care of his girl. And the expectation is that when he gets back to the U.S., he will just start sending money. So he asks Niles, why don't you have any money? It's not my responsibility to take care of your wife. And Niles says that he lost his job, but there is a plan in motion to get money when he gets back to the States. So he says that he's already been interviewing for other jobs, so he's hoping for the best. Mr. Ark wants to make sure that he's going to be able to take care of his new family. Like, come back and take Matilda to the United States as soon as you can. Can you promise me that? Because that's kind of one of the conditions of getting this money. Niles says he can, but he's going to need a little time. The process takes time. So this was the funniest part, I thought, because it starts out with like, how much time do you need? He's like, 2 to 3 months. And he was like, okay, so 2 to 3 months. You can do 2 or 3 months? He was like, yeah, 3 or 4 months. I can do that. He was like, okay, so you're saying 4 months? He's like, yeah, somewhere around 5 months is fine. God. He just kept making the months bigger and bigger and bigger. So it gets to 5 months and Niles is like, okay, I'll come back. I will take her with me within 5 months. And he knows he's making an unrealistic promise because he knows he has no control over when this visa happens.
Right.
And we know he has no control over when this visa happens. But he says he'll do whatever is humanly possible to speed things up as much as he can.
Oh my gosh.
So after all this, Mr. Ark says he's compelled to assist him because you are my son. And he's taking this dad thing very seriously.
Yes, he is.
So Mr. Ark says he knows Niles is a good man, so he wants this marriage to make both him and Matilda happy. So I guess the question is, what is really Mr. Ark's angle? What is he getting out of this?
I don't really know, other than I can kind of see Mr. Ark. He has a center, and so I think he's just one of those types that's just more fatherly, likes to take on a mentor role. So maybe this makes more sense if Mr. Ark just doesn't have kids of his own, right? And so he's like,
oh, that's true.
Cool.
Sure.
Like this guy, I could treat him like a son that I never had. So I can maybe see that angle. But Niles, like, what in the hell are you doing? He even says, like, oh, I've heard of some visas coming in as early as 3 months. Well, then why did you tell him 2 or 3 months? So obviously 2 was completely unrealistic. So I don't know what he's doing. He knows he's going to be letting everyone down by putting, and I mean, I agree with Mr. Ark though. Like, putting some kind of timeline on things, defining these things, I can absolutely understand where he's coming from. I don't know why Niles didn't say to him, well, it's not up to me. It's up to how long it takes for a visa to be approved. I've heard that it can be as short as 3 months, and it can be as long as, what did he say on the interview, 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't understand why he didn't just say that to him. Instead, he's making up some bullshit lie that he knows is bullshit.
Well, and that's like what you said with, like, when we were talking about Brian, is he does things like this and then blames it on his disability. Like, where I was just masking. I knew what he wanted to hear, and so I told him what he wanted to hear, and it's like, no, what he wanted to hear was the truth. Like, it was, and it is the truth. He could be like, I will go home and I will, the day I land in the U.S., turn in the visa paperwork. I will get it in motion as soon as I possibly can, but I cannot control when that visa comes out. I can't do it. It's not about, like, how much I want to take care of the family, but I don't know. I just don't know if I don't know if Mr. Ark would have bought that, because he definitely seems to think Americans are magic. We just have money that we can throw at any problem, and if anything that doesn't go our way is just due to insufficient will. If you would have just wanted it more, it would have happened. And I think he kind of thinks that with the job stuff as it goes around there. But yeah, it was infuriating to see him just like, I know you're lying. Like, and he probably knows you're lying.
Yeah. He
knows it's not easy to get a visa to go to the U.S. Like,
well, maybe he doesn't know firsthand, but yeah, I just don't understand why he continues to lie to everyone. I don't get what his deal is. And honestly, it's like, I know that he keeps on saying, oh, this is masking. This is like, my autism. It's like, I don't think masking is like straight up just telling lies.
Yeah, no, I don't think it. I mean, I think it is to an extent. It is like saying what you think people want to hear rather than what is in your head. Because I do think that is broadly something that's hard for autistic people, is knowing like when to lie and when not to lie.
Yeah.
Right? When it's like, actually, I think that painting you made looks ugly as shit. It's terrible. It's an awful painting. Like, why would you do that? To them, that's no different. And they're like, oh, dude, you're supposed to lie about that and say the painting looks good. And he's like, oh, okay. But then when you ask him, when the guy says, I know he wants me to tell him it's 2 months so I can come back, so I'll just tell him that, because that's the lie. And not understanding the social cues and social nuances of when lies are appropriate and when they're not is one of the struggles for autistic people.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move on to other couples that are struggling here, and that's Veah and Sunny. So Veah and Sunny are out shopping for underwear in a big pile of clothes on the floor, and Veah tells us that Rory is on his way back to the U.S. They continue their shopping, and they're looking for something for Veah to wear that can cover up her tattoo so they can meet Sunny's dad. They pick out a long-sleeve dress, which Veah says is out of her comfort zone, but she'll try it out. She puts the dress on over her clothes. Veah says she feels like she is hiding a part of herself, but she does want to be respectful of Sonny's culture. Veah wants his father to be okay with her, but it's bringing up bad memories of when she had to cover up with her ultra-religious foster parents. Sonny says that this will give her a chance for his parents to get to know her, and she can win them over and be herself in the future. Sonny feels bad that Veah is uncomfortable, but he likes that she is willing to do that for him. It shows him that she loves him, and he expresses appreciation for her efforts. Sonny is telling Veah that she looks great as they're on their way to meet his dad. Sonny tells us that his dad is older and strict. He does know that Veah isn't Muslim, but Sonny wants his approval so they can have a happy life together. They meet his dad, Shaheen, and they shake hands. Veah says that Sonny looks like his dad. Shaheen says that Veah looks healthier or chubbier in person. He also says that she looks tired, so Veah's feeling very offended and attacked already. Veah feeds Sonny a fruit. Shaheen says that he doesn't like her because she's a different culture and religion, but she must love Sonny because she came all the way out here to see him. Shaheen compliments her dress and says that it covers her tattoos well because tattoos are bad. Veah says that Sonny likes her tattoos, and Shaheen says that he can't possibly like them because he's his son. Veah says that her tattoos tell her story, and Shaheen says that tattoos are totally wrong. Shaheen tells her that they're Muslim, so how is she going to take that? Shaheen says that as the head of the household, that she will have to convert and follow Sonny. Veah says that she's not going to convert and tells him that it's so awkward. Sonny puts this on her, saying that she's the one who wanted to meet his dad. Veah tells him not to be mean to her. She gets up and excuses herself from the table. Veah says that she just wants to be by herself as she's crying. She doesn't want to be judged. Wearing that dress and being told to convert. Shaheen asks where she went, and Sonny says that she doesn't feel comfortable in situations like this. Shaheen wants Sonny to have a good wife, and that what he's seeing is something different. He doesn't like what she's doing. Sonny apologizes for putting him in the position as they both leave. Sonny tried to warn Veah, but running out the way that she did messed up everything, and he doesn't know how she's going to win over his dad. Sonny goes back out to Veah, who has taken off the dress. Veah claims that she had an anxiety attack. Sonny points out that she's the one who insisted on meeting his dad. Sonny says it was a big deal for him since he's never introduced any woman to him. Veah feels like Sonny didn't stick up for her, which was hurtful. Sonny says that his dad is really traditional. Veah wanted to be accepted for who she was. She's not sure if she's supposed to convert or not. She's feeling like it's something that's expected of her, but Sonny just isn't telling her. Sonny thinks that Veah is wrong for freaking out. Veah cries and says she wants to be left alone. Sonny regrets not talking about conversion before the meeting. Veah says that she wasn't trying to be rude, and she hopes that Shaheen understands that she was just overwhelmed. Sonny is scared to have a real conversation with her about converting. Okay, so she kind of has like two, conflicting thoughts. One is, I must meet this father and win him over. And then the other is, oh my gosh, I'm super overwhelmed. I can't deal with this. I need to make a bad impression. So
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it was true because, like, she thought she had to win over this father because he told her she had to win over this father.
Right.
Right. And it was like, well, might as well do that now. Right. Might as well do that now, not wait and put it off. Like, I'm sure Sonny would have. Sonny would have been like the day before the wedding would have been like, here's my dad. And he'd be like, your tattoos are terrible. I hate you. Yeah. And he'd be like, oh, I guess the wedding's not happening. Like, that's the sounds of it. Sounds like how Sonny would have behaved. So meet him. But then I don't think that whatever the warnings that everybody gave her or Sonny gave her, maybe he didn't prepare her enough. She was not ready for how mean he was going to be at all.
Well, I think, okay, and I'm not saying he wasn't mean because he was incredibly like forward and blunt, but I think that she started off thinking he was a lot meaner than he was because he was saying, oh, you look chubbier and healthier in real life, right? Like when she was just like, I was offended and attacked, and I was like, I think that was intended to be a compliment. The other stuff definitely not.
Could have been a backhanded compliment. I don't know. It's that's cultural thing. Definitely is like calling someone, health bigger or chunkier, chubbier. than they
Right.
are. Whether that's good or bad is definitely maybe a cultural thing. But the stuff where you're just like, clearly he knows she has tattoos already.
Yeah.
So it seems dumb that they went through all this entire rigmarole of covering up the tattoos when he knows she has the tattoos.
Yeah.
Right. And like, yeah, it just starts off with like, yeah, that thing you decided to do with your life, totally wrong.
Right.
Under no circumstances can that morally be allowed. By the way, you look lovely in that dress. It's like, what does it matter what you said after that? You just told them they were a moral abomination and then said, but I have nothing against you. It's like, you clearly do have something against me.
Yeah, I mean, but her reaction too, it's frustrating to me. I know it's frustrating because I know I can't relate. I mean, it's not to say that I haven't had those feelings as well, but I don't know what it is. Like, you just learn to deal with it, I guess.
Yeah, the running away and anxiety of whatever, because I mean, I get it, because I was like, all right, well, I left the restaurant because your choices were, I could leave the restaurant and cause you that embarrassment, or I could slap the shit out of your dad. Which one would you rather see?
All right, well, she can't control her impulses like that, then yes, running out is probably the best option.
Because if he keeps talking to me like that, he's gonna catch one like that.
Oh, God.
That. But that's also like, I also think that's kind of a cultural thing, right? If you're someone's dad, like that's acceptable behavior. Where here it is like we're, from the Americans' perspective, we're like, dude, Sonny, tell your dad to cool it. What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And he's just sitting there like, ooh, like just, being completely, probably what he's supposed to be for your dad. Don't speak up. Don't say anything. That's just because I feel like that's also true. I feel like that's just how he spent his life, and he doesn't understand why Veah can't just do that. But like, yeah, my dad's going to say like ridiculous things. Just shut up and listen to it. And then we'll leave and do whatever the fuck we want. Like, and I think that's how he's pretty much lived his life.
I think that Sonny should have, prepped Veah by saying, like, imagine the meanest thing you could possibly hear about yourself. Like, if my dad were to say that, like, I'm just telling you, I'm warning you from now, like, are you going to be okay with that? Because if you're not okay with that, we probably shouldn't meet him. And I wonder if she would have picked differently if she kind of had known that this would be a potential outcome.
Yeah, I also think that a lot of it just has to do with her voice and her mannerism and expressions. And it kind of invites an aggressive bully to be more aggressive, right? Because it's all very much like, well, are you Muslim? Are you going to become Muslim? She's like, well, I just I don't really like think of, just stuff, and it's not really great for me and thing. And he's like, well, you need to be Muslim, right? Instead of the conversation might have been more fruitful. She might have felt less anxiety, and she'd be like, yeah, no, I'm not converting to Muslim. I'm not, that's not happening. Right. And or saying, well, I like my tattoos, and Sonny tells me he likes my tattoos. He can say, Sonny tells me he likes my tattoos. Right. He could be like, oh, that's a lie. And he's like, well, that's what he tells me. And I can put it on him. But that kind of stuff kind of ends the conversation and goes. So she's like, well, it kind of, he says he likes them, I guess. And so it didn't help the way she was going. But I don't know. I think at the end of the day, if this was going to go down the way it was going to go down, it's still better for her that it happened now and not in 4 months when they're further down the relationship. It was still going to happen, and it's still going to make her feel the same way.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so let's talk about the only one I have left. Loren and Faith. Oh, God. Yeah. Damn it. These people piss me off. So we catch up with Loren in his hotel room, and he's... Oh, God. I forgot about this part. Now I'm reading the beginning of it. He's tearing the sleeves off his T-shirt so they can do a homemade tattoo in his hotel room.
Every single bad idea possible. I think it's probably the worst idea.
Hepatitis. I'm like, hepatitis. Look at all that hepatitis.
She doesn't know anything about this, and and I'm actually shocked that he wasn't like showing more signs of pain. It makes me kind of feel like he's into that.
Oh no, he definitely is into getting hurt. Absolutely. Yeah. So he wants to do it like the traditional like Polynesian tattoos when they tap on it, tap. Don't use like a gun, right? Because he's cheap. So he has all these materials. There's like toothpicks. There's tiny things. There's hammers. There's like I don't even know what ink he got. I assume it was tattoo ink. I hope that he just didn't put into a gun. So anyway, he's he already has other homemade tattoos on. So this is from my ex, this is from my coworkers, and now these are the people who are important to me. So it's your turn. This will be a good bonding experience. So he wants her to do a Philippine flag with an F on it for faith. So she knows it's bizarre, but he is really into it. So she says she might be able to do it because she was a face painter. And he's like, yeah, but you're not doing it on my face. And she's like, oh yeah, I get that. So he said he just came up with his own method for doing these homemade tattoos because tattoo parlors are too expensive. So we get everything set up and get started. And it's like I said, the tap, tap, tap. He didn't even get her anything to hit it with. She's hitting it with like a full-on, like just you fold it up utility knife, and she's like whack, whack, whack. It keeps getting stuck. They're like, well, let's see. She's doing blue, and they pull it out. It's just like covered in blood.
Oh,
it looks so painful. And all this while, she's like, wine break? It's like she's drinking too and doing it. It just is awful. So they get the wine. He goes in for a kiss. They kiss for a while, and he's pretty solidly confident that they're going to have a future. They show us this thing at the end. It looks nothing like any flag at all. It's like random blotches of color in a triangle.
Oh,
it's not even thing that was done. It was just terrible. But now that his trip to the Philippines is almost over, Loren is making plans for his big proposal. So he's not into it himself, but he knows that Faith likes magic. So he goes to a magic shop to pick out a trick he can use for a proposal. And they say, oh, well, we'll go get the magicians and do it. And he just like shoots down like 12 different tricks. He's like, nah, that one sucks. That one's so good. No, that was like the flower she did. That was, we're doing it outside. That won't work. And even after all that, what he ends up with is a can of snakes. And like, which is the worst of the things they brought out. And also this like, I don't know, it's a little cup thing. You pull the ribbon out of it. It's a bag. And he's going to tie the ring to the end of the ribbon. So he has a whole picnic planned out for her and waits in the park to sit down for her. So he's still not sure if she's going to say yes, but he's got to do it before he leaves if they want to get their plans in motion. So he sits down the blanket and pours some red wine and shows off the really just awful tattoo that can't even really be called a tattoo. It just looks like a bruise on his arm. So they eat for a while before she picks up the can of chips that has the spring snakes in it. Didn't really work because she didn't open it like all the way up. She kind of felt it. But that was his cue to take out the other magic trick, and he does it. She knows what it is, and she's like, oh, yeah, that one. And he pulls it out, but it has a ring on the end of it, and he pops the question. She looks at him funny because she was like, wait, is this part of the trick? You trick it? Is this what? So she disappoints me and everyone else by saying yes. Ugh. And then he's like, well, we already have boyfriend kisses. Can I have fiance kisses? So she said yes because she loves him, because he accepts her for who she is. So she wants to keep him forever. They then transition to the spring snakes, coming to like, oh yeah, the spring snakes, which are, I guess, penises. I don't know. We got to penises very quickly. So she says if he has sex like he does magic, they're going to be in some trouble because he was bad at the magic, you see. So she does have one question, though, is how are they going to work if they're both bottoms? Mm-hmm. And then he explains that more about his penis than I want to know, but he says he can do it. So we don't need to go into that. So it's sounding like they're probably going to be having sex soon.
Yeah.
So he also wants to meet with an immigration lawyer ASAP because he's got to get his plans in motion as security is kicking them out of the park. So what the hell is wrong with this dude? With the tattoo thing, I cannot get over.
Everything about it.
Every idea he has is a bad idea.
Oh my gosh, so bad. I don't really know. The only thing I can think of is, like I mentioned, is that he just really is a masochist. Because everything about this is like walking pain. The actual process of it, painful. The fact that we can almost guarantee that this thing is infected or you're going to get some kind of random bloodborne disease here, also pretty much guaranteed. Also painful, right?
Well, he heat up the thing in a candle. That's gotta sanitize it, right?
Oh my gosh. So everything about this, it's like, what are you doing? I do not understand it. And then he's just an asshole just in general. Like, him at the magic shop. He was such an asshole to those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, that's not gonna work. Just like being such a hater.
Well, not even a hater, but like, they showed the tricks and he was like, well, obviously that was just like the flower trick she did. They didn't know she did the flower trick.
Yeah.
They weren't there for that.
Right.
Like,
yeah. So everything about it was just, about him was just terrible. But Faith surprised me too, because I cannot believe she said yes. You guys have barely kissed each other. And now you're going to marry this man? Like, she disappointed me very much.
Yeah, I mean, he cheated on you. You're like, that's the thing is she said she seems to like when he compliments her. Like, I will give her that. And he does that a lot. And she gets like all like, ooh, hey. But yeah, it's just, I always just feel bad for her because it just seems like it's just, this is the first person who's ever treated me like a person in a romantic relationship. And therefore I can't have no confidence I will ever find that again. So I gotta hang on to this one.
I know, and that makes me so sad because, like I said,
sure.
just this guy, like, she's got to know that there's better guys out there, and I think she knows that there's better guys out there. I think she just lacks the confidence
that she'll ever be able to get one. Yeah.
Yes, that she would have the better guys there. Yeah. Okay, so someone who does not lack so much confidence, and that's Adnan. So let's talk about Adnan and Tigerlily. Oh gosh. So Adnan and Tigerlily, they've been having problems, but Adnan, he doesn't want to address any of it because his mom and brother are flying into Istanbul to visit with them. It's Tigerlily's favorite holiday, which is Thanksgiving, and Tigerlily is cooking for everyone. Adnan has brought groceries, which she should have just gone and got groceries herself because what Adnan bought was just confusing. For some reason, he bought an absurd amount of celery and a pumpkin, and Tigerlily is just confused as what she's going to do with this pumpkin. But Tigerlily wants to impress Adnan's mom with her cooking, and she feels like her long nails are an asset in the kitchen because they're basically tongs and scissors.
I don't want your scissor.
God, gross.
With your fingers is gross.
Yeah. So she's struggling in the kitchen because she can't convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, and she really cannot work this oven. So it isn't her kitchen, so she's worried about being able to pull it off. Adnan is sitting on the couch, basically refusing to help, and really all she's asking was like, help me turn on this oven. But he claims he can't help her because he doesn't know how to cook. It's also not in her language. You would think that he would have some...
I don't know.
I don't know how to
kitchen.
cook.
It's in kitchen. I know nothing.
Oh, gosh. So Tigerlily wonders if he will be this useless in the U.S. And the answer is yes, he will be this useless.
Every bit is this useless.
Oh, my gosh. So Tigerlily, she's seeming to make progress as Adnan comes in to tell her that it's taking a long time. Yeah, that's his contribution to this whole thing. Mm-hmm. So Adnan is kind of excited to have Thanksgiving dinner. He says it's a big deal for Tigerlily to cook for his mom because if she doesn't do a good job... then his mom will not be impressed and she won't love her. Adnan's mom, Aliyah, and his older brother, Yazan, arrive. She shakes hands with Yazan, and Aliyah compliments the looks of the food. Tigerlily is worried because the food is so different than Jordanian food. The oven is smoking as Adnan is trying to grab something out of the oven with his bare hands. So, I mean, maybe he's
He
right.
definitely doesn't know anything about the kitchen,
No,
to be
he
fair.
definitely doesn't. So, all of the food is on the table, and Tigerlily is trying to explain all the food to everyone. To be honest, everything kind of looks a little weird. Like, you get what food it's supposed to be, but there's just something off about it.
Yeah, there was something off about all the ingredients, so I give it to her. I had Thanksgiving dinner in Australia once, and that was just Australia.
Yeah.
And it was all like, it's a little bit weird.
Right.
Like everything is not quite what I'm used to.
Yeah.
These are not the French's crispy onions on top of the green bean casserole.
Oh gosh. Plus, I'm pretty sure their marshmallows was like a Haribo, like the same package you get gummy bears in.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Yazan likes the sauce and the turkey. Tigerlily is actually proud of herself to figure everything out with, especially with Adnan being super unhelpful. Mm-hmm. Aliyah says that Tigerlily is like a daughter, and she says that she wants a grandchild and starts to get real pushy about it. Adnan says that they've been trying to conceive and Aaliyah is being super demanding about being able to see her grandchild. Aaliyah doesn't want to see Adnan leave for the U.S. and starts to cry. Adnan says that he'll visit his mom every month or two. Tigerlily says that that's not realistic. Aaliyah can't visit for a long time in the U.S. because, you know, she has so many sons and she has to really be there for them. Tigerlily isn't going to be okay with Adnan gone once a month if she's pregnant, and she thinks it's a slap in the face after all the sacrifices she's made. All right, so I don't really understand why Adnan is so excited, I don't know, about marrying a U.S. woman, considering that it doesn't even really seem like he wants to leave his mom.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he really thought of anything much past American blondes are like exotic and desirable, and I have an American blonde. End of story. And that's what's best. If that's what's the best, then I deserve the best. I don't.
Gosh.
The logistics and thinking about it is not something you did not think that far ahead. Let's put it that way.
Oh my gosh, idiot. So yeah, I just don't even know how this is going to move forward. And I just doesn't, they seem so fake. It's like almost like a waste of breath even talking about this couple.
Yeah, I mean, they are just like, it does seem like two people who want to be on the show so they can be influencers and so they can get like clout and things. But I mean, I did appreciate Adnan's, how much Adnan's brother liked the gravy. He was like, whoa, where's this shit been my whole life? This is amazing. Let's go.
Yeah. I feel bad about having to cook everything, and that's kind of a crazy situation, but also it doesn't seem like if she's trying to put her best American Thanksgiving foot forward, I don't know if this is the right conditions to try to accomplish this goal.
You got to do it. There's specific brands. Like I said, the French's crispy onions, right? There's specific brands that are Thanksgiving. Like I feel like sticking with the green bean casserole, I feel like even if you used a different cream of mushroom soup, it would be like, this is wrong. This is not Campbell's. Something tastes off about it. Let alone a Turkish cream of mushroom soup. That has to be completely different.
Yeah.
It's like the British baked beans, and you eat them and you're like, what are these?
But
these
also, I mean, Tigerlily, it's like, I don't understand why she just didn't ship that stuff with her.
Yeah. I don't know.
She has enough luggage.
I know she has the luggage, but I also don't know. I don't know how hard it is to get food into various places. Like I said, most of my international travel has been to Australia, and you cannot bring food to Australia at all.
You can't bring like produce and meat and stuff like that. But for something like canned stuff, I don't care. It's fine.
I don't know. I know I've had to throw some things out. I can't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, and for maybe the dry goods, I don't know about canned goods. Like they still have like seeds, right? I don't think anything with seeds. They're like, this seed might spontaneously generate into something that can grow, even though it's been in this can for 40 years.
Right, but she could have brought a package of marshmallows.
Yeah, she probably marshmallows would be fine. Yes, candy you can bring in. I know that.
Yeah, she could have brought some cans of soup. She could have brought in the French's onions. She probably could have bought a box of stuffing. Some
stovetop.
Some stovetop. Some cranberry sauce. Like canned cranberry sauce.
Oh, we got to hit him with the cranberry sauce of the ridges. That's the key. Yeah.
Right. And, then the other stuff, you could figure it out. But, that's like the basis of most everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's always tough to do it yourself, and it's definitely tough to do it yourself when the other person's just like, I don't know how kitchen. I don't know. There's a door to a kitchen. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, he was incredibly frustrating. And then he tries to take something out of the oven and then burns himself. You're just like, now you're trying to be helpful? Okay. Well, right, dude,
especially because the kitchen stuff, she was just like, I need to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit.
He's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
look it up on your phone,
you can't
idiot.
Google that stuff. Like, go on. You just need somebody to Google. Like, let alone I don't know what a rain cloud in the oven might stand for.
Yeah, I was equally confused for her. I was like, I don't even know what that's supposed to be. It can't. the answer is that button wasn't really a rain cloud. She just didn't know.
It couldn't have been a rain cloud.
No, she just didn't know what it
Yes.
was supposed to be. That's the
Yes.
issue. Yeah. All right. So I think that was everybody. So out of the group we saw this week, who was your student of the week?
I will give student of the week. We didn't see everybody. I will give my student of the week to, you know what? I might just say Tigerlily for cooking that whole meal by herself.
Yeah, I mean, good for her for figuring it out and actually having food. And even if they really didn't like it, at least they said they liked it.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough, man. It's tough to do it alone. It's tough to do it in a different country. And this is a person who has a glam squad do her makeup every day.
Right?
She's not really the DIYer, you know?
No. What about your dunce?
My dunce was, I'm going to say Brian. I feel like we weren't spoiled for choice, but like Brian's complete, like I feel like he switched over to gaslighting us. Like I just had to make this a clean break from someone who I thought was taking advantage of me. It's like, dude, she dumped you 3 weeks ago. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I went with Loren for all of the laundry list of things we said that he's doing, opening himself up to bloodborne diseases, getting a tattoo in general. I mean, getting tattooed with Faith's initial before he even proposed or knew they're barely boyfriend-girlfriend, right? Just because she said it once.
He like literally begs her for kisses. Yeah, very tense.
Ugh, yeah. So everything about him. But yeah, dunce for this week. All right, what about your life lesson?
Yeah, my life lesson goes to Loren. Some things are not meant to be done at home with make-it-yourself tools. And tattooing is one of those things.
Yeah.
If it can't be undone, you should not be YOLOing it at home with toothpicks and a switchblade. Like, what are you doing?
Right. My life lesson is for Veah and Sunny. If you're trying to win someone over, you really have to be on your absolute best behavior. And I don't know if Veah really understood what the stakes were, but she was not on her best behavior. So sometimes that means you got to kind of keep your mouth shut, you know, like you were saying. If you're just trying to make a good impression, just keep your mouth shut. But just doesn't mean you have to do what they're saying.
I think part of it happened there is that was a no-win situation. There was 0% chance she could do anything to make a good impression at all. Yeah. Except be like, I've already converted to Islam. Look, allow me to recite the thing, like the Quran to you.
Right.
Like that's it. That's all that would have made a good impression.
Yeah. Fair. All right. So, as far as we know, we'll be back same time next week.
Yeah, we got to be running down.
We got to be getting towards the end, right?
We have to be. We have to be.
Okay. All right, but we'll be back again this time next week.
All right. See everybody then.
Till then.
Okay.
Bye.